European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen is to visit Poland today to meet the leaders of 4 Central and Eastern European countries hit by severe flooding. On their agenda, aid for the areas affected by Storm Boris. They're gathering in the Polish city of Wroclaw, where authorities and volunteers are working to fortify riverbanks and protect buildings from the rising waters. More than 20 people have died so far in flooding across parts of Central and Eastern Europe. Our reporter Marta Tor is standing by for us in the northwest of Wrocław in Mazowice. Good to see you, Marta. The high waters are still to peak in and around the city. What's the situation where you are right now?
I'm in the district of Wrocław, which has been affected by the flood for the past 2 days. It's not at the Odra River, it's a tribute river. And last night, the dam of Mietków was overflowing. It was filled with 100%, so the water was flowing and the military was securing the embankment as it did for the past 3 days. But this is, for now, the only very, very critical place in Wrocław. For now, over the night, they also flooded a polder in Oława. Oława has been... is one of the biggest tribute rivers to the Odra River, right before Wrocław. And they had a tide of 7:30 last night. So they decided during the night to just release the water to take away the tension from Wrocław and the Odra River.
Yeah, and Marta, we are looking at live pictures right now of the affected areas, just extraordinary. EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen is visiting Wrocław this afternoon along with other European leaders. What do people need right now and what do they expect from Brussels and the Polish government?
People mostly expect money to get the restructuring done, especially for housing, smaller businesses, and of course the infrastructure, which is most crucial because there have been villages in the mountain areas that have been flooded so severely that some bridges and roads were completely taken away, and these villages just need the help because some of them are just cut off from civilization, and they still have no drinking water. Electricity is not really working, so these are the most crucial problems, and they're hoping that the government will help them as soon as possible.
Now, this is an area that has seen quite significant flooding before because there was a flood called the Odra flood in 1997 where 1/3 of, as I understand it, Wrocław was flooded, and after that flood protection was strengthened. How is that holding up now?
Actually, surprisingly well for now. During the night, the wave came a little bit earlier than expected, and the wave is supposed to stay in Wrocław for about a day or 1.5 days. So it is a rather long but strong wave and not as high. But it is still higher than predicted. The forecast said it will be around 5 something, but right now we are at 6:30 and the tide is still rising. But the strengthening and modernized flood systems are actually working, and we're still hoping that Racibórz, especially Racibórz, the retention lake, is helping a lot because it was filled by 80% last night.
That was Marta Tor reporting from Wrocław in Poland. Marta, thanks a lot for your reporting. Well, so far, Germany has been spared the worst effects of this flooding, but the water levels are rising in some areas. The eastern city of Dresden wants to avoid further damage to its infrastructure after a major bridge across the Elbe River collapsed just last week.
This barrier protects the old city of Dresden from flooding. It's part of a wider concept to protect the city from the worst-case scenario.
We are ahead of the game. We are well prepared, and that's why we are relatively relaxed about this flood.
Dresden experienced such extreme flooding in 2002 and 2013. In 2002, the old town was almost completely underwater. Many residents are reminded once again of these events.
I'm always scared every night as soon as it rains. Well, it was very dramatic again, so you always think back to how it was.
Those who lived through 2002 and 2013 are more worried. But in the end, they must live with it too, for now.
It's always a bit threatening when the Elbe water rises, but this time it's fairly mild.
After the catastrophe in 2002, Dresden greatly improved its flood protection system and developed a protective barrier around the city. This defense system saved the city from severe flooding in 2013.
So the 3.5-kilometer flood protection line will be built in stages in case of flooding. The first elements are here at this point. And then there are other elements that will be added gradually as the water continues to rise.
The floodwaters came just a few days after the Corolla Bridge in the city collapsed. Clearing the rubble before the floods came was a race against time.
In a joint action, we managed to both demolish the bridge and remove the debris within a few hours. And so we managed to ensure that the area was safe before the flood came. And as we see it now, can pass through this area without any problems.
This time, Dresden seems to have got off lightly and does not have to worry about the expected flood peak.